seated. I say good morning again to everyone and happy Sabbath. It is good again to be in the house of the Lord for another week. Our announcements for today. This week we'll be praying for Sister Loretta Carter and her family. Sister Loretta Carter, please remember Sister Carter in your worship this week and her family. We have Vespers this evening on Zoom at 7:10 p.m. We're inviting everyone to join us to close the Sabbath on Zoom at 7:10 p.m. And we have a lot of activities for the month of April. April 13th, which will be next Sabbath, we will be having Pastor Ashadane Duncan from Canada here for our Visitors Day. So what I'm going to do is invite everyone to invite a former Acreage member, one of your friends, one of your co-workers, one of the Acreage members that's on the books. We still have 178. Please invite them to come in for Visitors Day. We have a well-planned day for beginning at Sabbath school at 9:15, and we'll go through the day. So that's next Sabbath, April 13th, is our Visitors Day. Board members, we do have board meeting on the Sunday, the 14th, on Zoom, April 14th, board meeting. That's our regular board meeting. Then the following Sabbath, April 20, will be our music day. Again, I'm going to ask us to invite our friends, our co-workers, the backsliders, all those who once worshiped with us to come out to worship the Lord on that day through music. Remember our building committee, they meet every Sunday at 6 p.m. Members of the building committee, that's your commitment, every Sunday at 6 on Zoom. And then coming up in May, we have another special treat at the Acreage Church. May 17th through 18th, Pastor Isaac Olatonja from State Line SDA Church will be worshiping here with us. Those of us who watch State Line on YouTube or Zoom or wherever we watch State Line, Project Latter Rain, that's all Pastor O. So that's May 17th through 18th. Again, I ask you to invite your friends and those who love present truth to come out to listen to Dr. O. We have prayer and fasting every Wednesday at 5. We begin 5 to 5:30, 12:30 to 1, and then we end the day on Wednesdays with prayer meeting at 8:30. So please keep that in mind this week, and as we have launched our prayer ministry, we're going to ask that you pray for the events of the church, the activities, and pray for the latter rain to fall upon this place. Don't forget to contribute to our building fund, and we'll hear more about that during the service. Sunset today is at 7:41, and next Friday the sunset later, 7:44. May God bless all of us as we worship together. We'll listen to Elder Edson.
Just some addition. So what we're going to be doing going forward is that on Sabbath mornings, instead of the platform parties staying outside and we have the announcements, we're going to have the platform party coming in. Then we have the announcements, then we go into our service, because we all want to be reminded of the announcements as well. That's number one. Number two, on next week's Sabbath, when Pastor Duncan is here, we're going to be here for the day. He is the one who Pastor has asked to do our evangelistic series in June. So he wants to have an evening program with us to start planning and going over some of the plans that we need to put in place prior to the evangelistic series. So we've asked the school for the entire day, and we're going to make sure we have lunch. And we are here. We're going to listen to the speaker, but on the evening, he wants to have a meeting with us then. This week, you know, there's always something about the building, right? You're always going to hear. So the other adjustment we're going to make to the program is that when we're here, since we're going to be in here for the announcements, we're going to have, you see that part that says pulpit news? We might just remove that section there, because we just have the announcements, and then we just, Pastor or the elder will share additional information as is needed. So we can take out that line out of the Divine Hour program. Number two, this week, I again, one of my clients, the civil engineer who told me he reviewed the plans that we submitted to the county maybe 10 years ago. He called me this week and he said, Edson, how serious are you guys to build this church? And I said, we're pretty serious. We want to get this thing started and maybe even finish this year. He said, are you sure? I said, yes. He said, the reason why I'm asking is two things. Number one, a lot of contractors and engineers don't like to work with churches. He said, the reason being is because sometimes they start and they can't finish because money is a problem. And he says, Edson, I can't understand why the churches don't have money because we have God. He said, one church just built a massive church down here and then they're going to Boca. He said Boca, down in the wealthiest area, they find piece of land and they bought the piece of land and they're going to build a church. He said, why are our churches suffering? I said to him, I call his name, I won't for obvious reasons. I call his name, I said, I wish I could record this conversation to share with other people. He said, Edson, if there's anything I can do to help your church, let me know. He said, if there's anything, he says, we need a civil engineer until the end of the project. We've already gotten a commitment from another client of mine who is a geotechnical engineer to do everything, soil testing, all of the testing that we need to do prior to building, free of cost. And this other guy is committing his company and his service to help us for the civil engineer portion of the building. Is God giving us something, brethren? He's giving us the green light? Yes. No, brethren, this man called me. I didn't call him. He brought up this to me, and I said to him, again, I called his name. I said to him, if you are willing to help us, we will take any help we can take. And if there's any point where we have to pay for your services, we understand that. He said, Edson, whatever I can do to help, I will help you. Brethren, do you think God is giving us the green light to go forward? We're going to start next week. Every program that we have, every single week, we need to start picking up a special offering every week for our building project. So starting next week, we didn't tell you before and we didn't start inviting people yet. Brethren, that first thing, the two things we need to start doing, well, three. Number one, we need to start praying. And hence, we are launching our what? Prayer ministries. Number two, we need to invite people here every week. We need to make sure every single week we invite people in this place. And number three, you need to start setting aside some money to give towards our building project. And I'm going to tell you again, brethren, pray that God is going to ask you to do something sacrificially. Set a good goal, because this year, our commitment is to start this building this year. And if we can finish it this year, why not? Why not? And by the way, we don't want to reiterate this, and I wish we could pause the recording or the streaming for this one because we don't want to keep mentioning this. So, Kian, can we pause the streaming? I had just wanted to mention this only to us in here. Can we pause it? And then after we mention this, we're going to have our prayer session for our building project and anything else. Let me